Caleb, it's great to have you guys on the show. Welcome to the Christian Rock 20. I'm super excited to talk about your band, Must Build Jacuzzi, and I have a feeling you already know what the first question is going to be. So just to throw you off, I'm going to ask a obvious other question, which is, how you guys doing today?
I'm doing great.
Cool.
Doing great.
Awesome.
Yeah, we're really happy to be here.
Oh, well, that's lovely. Yeah. Cool. All right, so now we're going to go to the obvious question. Why Must Build Jacuzzi?
Caleb, go ahead.
Yeah, so I guess my name's Caleb. I play guitar and sing in Must Build Jacuzzi.
Nice.
And the origin of the name is just kind of weird.
You don't say.
We were all yeah, well, most people are like, what in the world could that possibly mean? But we were, I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Muppets from Space.
I have, but it's been a while.
Okay, well, there's this one scene where Gonzo is sleeping on a couch, and then two of the other characters, like, he thinks he's an alien in that movie, and then the other two characters talk to him through a fan while he's sleeping, so it sounds all, like, garbled.
Right.
And then they're like, you will build us a jacuzzi, okay? And then Gonzo gets up and he says, must build jacuzzi. and we were just like, well, like, we were we've been playing some songs, and under the name of a different name for a little while, but we were really wanting to pick something that was a little more, I guess, unique.
Sure.
And then that's the one that we were kind of like, hey, that'd be a great name for a band. Let's do that.
Nice. Now, I know the ritual that a lot of bands have when they pick a name for the first time, or even if they're just rebranding under a different name, they will often do a Google search to see if there is another band already smart enough to be using that name. Did you guys even bother with that?
No, I don't believe so. I think we were just like, that's going to be the name. And then we did search it, and I believe we are the only other band named Must Build Jacuzzi.
Nice!
What's
I don't
funny,
think we
though,
ever thought it would be a problem. I don't think we ever thought anybody would know us enough to say, hey, somebody else has that name.
Yeah, I mean,
like,
some names that didn't quite make the cut. I think one time we threw out the Pone Tones. Because we're like, do we want to do, like, kind of more of, it's a thing for ska to kind of put tones at the end of your name.
You don't say.
Like, there's a lot of bands that have that. I mean, the super tones, obviously. But, yeah, what's funny is when you search Must Build Jacuzzi on Google, and then you go to, like, you get to, like, page 3. I mean, our stuff comes up right at the beginning. Then you get to, like, page 3, and you get actual instructions on how to build a hot tub. You get websites that are like, 10 easy payments of $395, or build your own jacuzzi. Yeah.
See, I love the fact that not only did you guys use a quote from a Muppet movie to come up with a title, but you also picked what, in my experience, is like the least revered Muppet movie. Now, I'm not saying it's bad. I enjoyed it. I mean, it was one of those ones I kind of avoided for a while because everyone's like, oh, it's in space. And I had, people I knew who were like, man, what a waste of time. And I'm like, I like the Muppets, but I don't know. And then I finally watched it. I'm like, I get it. It's funny. It's cool. But, if there was a jump the shark moment for the Muppets, that's probably the one. So I kind of love that that's what you guys picked.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's just the one that my mom brought home from the video store one day when I was a kid.
Right.
And it was like, I guess that's just the first one that, one of the ones that I saw growing up that kind of stuck. And we were just all watching it one time because we all kind of saw it too. We were watching it as adults, and then we're like, oh, guess that worked.
Nice. See, now you're making me feel old, though, because I like, my parents brought home Muppet movies too, but it was the Muppet movie and the Great Muppet Caper.
Yeah, the one with like Rainbow Connection and
yes. There's a fork in the road.
Yes, I've seen that one too, but it's been a little while.
Right. Okay, so now on to the next question, which is probably one that you guys get a good bit as well. I mean, it's 2018. It's a good adult lifetime after ska has been a really big deal. What made you guys gravitate towards ska?
This is Austin, the drummer. I can honestly say that when I joined the band, I was not a huge fan of ska. I didn't even really know the basis of it and all that. And Caleb and Bill and all those guys in the band, they kind of showed me the way. So I can say, like, I can't even really call it ska, but the most ska I listened to really was like Sublime. You know, they had a little bit of horns, a little bit of upbeats and punk, and
Yeah.
I was really into that. And then Caleb and Bill said, no, this is real ska. And they started showing me, like, you know, bands like Streetlight Manifesto and Five Iron Frenzy and bands like that. And I don't know. I guess that's more of Caleb's answer for that one on why we chose to be ska. But I know that particularly it's more of an easy easy thing to play for the most part. There's not the pressure of being like a good, you know, nobody's like, oh, they're in a ska band, they must be really good musicians, because that's just not usually how it goes. But I think, yeah, for me it's fun.
Okay, all right, yeah, we'll go with that one. It's fun. Yeah.
Yeah. So I would say, I mean, like when I was in high school, I was listening to a lot of like, you know, Christian punk and pop punk and stuff. Like Reliant K is still to this day like one of my favorite bands of all time.
Sure.
And then I remember it was on one of Reliant K's B-sides album. It was like an ode to Five Iron Frenzy.
Mm-hmm.
So they did, and then I was like, oh, what's this Five Iron Frenzy band? And Bill, our bass player, we met in high school. So, you know, we both went to the same church. We went to the same youth group and stuff, and we met. And then so I was already listening to Reliant K, you know, Skillet, and like a lot of the, you know, bigger names in like, Christian music at the time. And then Bill showed me Five Iron Frenzy, the Cheeses album.
Okay, yeah.
And then, so that was probably the first, and I've heard like Real Big Fish and some stuff before. And then I heard Cheeses. I was like, whoa, this is, you know, some cool punk rock music, but it has horns.
Right.
Yeah. Like, this is really cool. And I think, you know, just where we are as a band now, or like when we picked out, you know, that is to set our base genre of what's awesome about it is you really don't need to stay within a certain umbrella, I don't think.
Yeah, ska is one of those genres that you expect other things to be blended with it.
Yeah, because, I mean, you know, we like hardcore music, pop punk music, just like rock music stuff. So like there's just a lot of different elements that you can blend with ska to, you know, kind of give it some originality.
Sure.
I think we like the energy of it the most, though. I think
that definitely
is like anybody that's seen us live knows that we like to go off in a sense when, you know, when we're playing. We're not those, I like to call it Beatles shows, you know, where we just stand there and look at me, I can play an instrument. So
not a whole lot of shoegazing at your shows.
No disrespect to the Beatles. I like the Beatles, but
that's just something that, you know, when we play live, we're having fun if we see that other people are having fun.
Sure.
So it's like, you know, we've had our fair share of, you know, shows in bars or whatever where, you know, people are just kind of sitting there.
Right.
And those are just, you know, they're definitely not as fulfilling.
Right.
Because I know when you're kind of playing for entertainment, people are like, oh, just, you know, shut up and play covers or something I can sway and swing my beer to.
Yeah.
Or whatever. So, but when we play a show and people are like, you know, the circle pit opens up or a skank pit, that's when we're just like, oh, wow, this, and like, it's just weird because how much that fuels us. Like when the crowd's going crazy, we try to just go crazier.
Right. Yeah.
So
that makes sense.
It's just one of those things where it's just really, really fun.
Cool. I like it, man. Sweet. So now the first full length for you, I mean, I'm assuming this is the first full length for you guys, right? The Last Place?
Yeah, technically speaking, yeah.
Okay, technically speaking. Cool. All right, so what was it like going into to get this one done? I mean, you know, it's always kind of a big milestone to, whether technically or not, to, you know, be able to put out your first full-length record and have it be on CD and for sale and all that good stuff. What was that experience like this time for you guys?
Yeah, so I guess I'm sure there's things Austin can add too, but so when you say go in to record it,
into your bedroom, wherever.
It was so the place where I work actually has, like, you know, I work in audiovisual, so live events usually. Mm-hmm. So we have like speakers, we have mics and mic cables and stands,
sure,
like in our office. And I asked my boss, I was like, hey, can we just come in on a weekend and track? And I have all my own like recording equipment, like nicer mics and stuff, but it was a space to do it.
Sure.
So we're like, yeah, let's just set up everything and start recording. So when we started recording for Last Place, we didn't really know we were recording for Last Place.
Right.
We had a couple songs that were new.
Sure.
And then we're like, yeah, we had probably 4 new songs. We're like, yeah, let's let's lay these down. You know, we'll figure out what to do with them. We, you know, posted an Instagram video or whatever of us tracking, and then Brandon Jones messaged us on Instagram just saying, "Hey, I want to talk to you guys." We're like, cool. So,
that sounds ominous when you say it like that. I want to talk to you guys.
Yeah, we're like, but what's funny is that we've known Indie Vision Music for quite some time. Bill, our bass player, probably wouldn't want me to say this, but I think it was 2013. Indie Vision released a ska compilation.
Sure.
Called Ska Lives Volume 1.
Mm-hmm.
And we have a very, very old song on that compilation. So it's not very good. It still exists. It's still on the internet. Yeah, so when Brandon commented, we're like, "Oh, Indie Vision Music's reaching out to us. This is super cool." You know, because we already knew what they were about. And then he's like, "Yeah, we want to put out your album, your next album that you're making." And at the time, we didn't really have a name for it yet either.
Right.
That took a little brainstorming. So
sure.
That kind of kicked us in the butt to finish recording the whole album.
Nice.
Because we were just going to record a couple songs, and then we're like, all right, now this is a real record.
Yeah, Brandon actually gave us an actual date that we had to be finished. We're not used to that. Usually we're like, oh, we'll record, and, you know, we get it done, you know. But he was like, I need it on this date. And we're like, oh, man, we gotta try hard here.
Well, I think he asked, like, originally, the original release date was December 1st.
Okay.
And I think, because at first he was talking to Bill, our bass player.
Sure.
And I think Bill just underestimated how long it would take us, because I think Brandon, he asked if we would be done by December 1st. And
right.
He's like, yeah, we should be good. And then when he asked us, we're like, no. No. Like, that ain't going to happen.
A lot of people don't realize that, you know, like for instance, Bill, and our trumpet player Josh, we all live in the Peoria area, but Caleb lives in St. Louis. Our saxophone player Keaton, he lives in Minnesota.
Oh, wow.
And our trombone player, he lives in Chicago. So the stars have to align for all of us to get into one room together usually. So that kind of makes it a little bit harder, but you know, we manage. We manage. Now,
did you guys all originally come from the same place to start with, or did you guys just randomly find each other?
Yeah,
Caleb.
I was going to say we were all in the same city to start with. It's just, you know, I had my wife changed schools to one that she had to be, you know, a little further away. So then, you know, of course I'm going to move too, but I still kept it going. Like, yeah, I just, yeah, it's a good idea to move where your wife is. But, you know, usually it involves me just taking weekend trips, or vice versa, them coming down to record or practice, or me coming up there. Throughout the whole recording process, we probably recorded in like 3 different locations.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. This whole album, like some songs were recorded in our friends in Peoria's basement.
Okay.
Like it's recorded in the basement, and then some of it at my house, and then some where I work.
Wherever we can get a space.
Sure.
Yeah, because
some room. That sounds decent.
There you go.
Caleb works his magic if it sounds bad. So
nice. I feel you there. Before we lose complete track, let's talk about the single that we're already spinning called 3 out of 3 Ain't Bad, or 3rd out of 3 Ain't Bad, which I quite love. I think that's very amusing. But since that's the single, tell us about that song, just kind of whatever you want. I mean, we can talk about meanings, you can talk about the writing process, or what it means to you, or, you know, kind of whatever stands out to you about the song, I guess.
Yeah,
I think the name of the song and the name of the album relate to each other. They all kind of create the essence of Last Place,
sure,
if you will. That just comes from, without getting into too many details, it comes from a show we played not too long ago, and we didn't realize we were really in a battle of the bands type situation. Oh. But we played the show, and it was like, I don't even, like American Idol, like there was judges sitting at a table, and you know, we're punk rock guys. We're not here to win awards. We're here to play music. And to make a long story short, we got last place. So that's where the name for the album comes from. But as far as the meaning and all that, Caleb, you can go ahead and discuss that.
Yeah, I mean, usually for songwriting, our bass player Bill, he and I usually write the songs. When I say that, not so much we get in a room together and write them, like we'll each have our own ideas of songs to bring to the table.
Sure.
Normally I'll come up with an idea, and then demo it out in like MIDI drums or whatever, and then just kind of record a scratch track and send it to the guys. But for Third Out of Three Ain't Bad, I was just driving to work one day, I think, and then I just had this kind of whole basis of a song structure that just popped in my head, and I was like, oh, this sounds pretty cool. So I took out my phone and I just did open the little voice recorder app, and I just hummed the whole thing, for drum part, and like just that part there, and then just kind of just recorded a really scratched voice version of it. Sure. And then we got together, and I was like, here's kind of what I'm going for. Everybody else just added their own little elements. Cause I remember the second verse where it kind of goes like the dun 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 dun. No, that was Austin's idea. Cause I had something else originally, and he's like, what if we did this instead? I was like, oh yeah, that sounds a lot better. So we all kind of threw, I came with the, the structure of it, and everybody added their own.
We're like a potluck as a band. Caleb brings the main dish and we all bring sides, and it becomes a pretty good meal.
Nice. I love potlucks. I'm all about that.
And then as far as the horn stuff goes, usually my brother and trumpet player, because we're siblings, he usually writes all the horn parts.
Okay.
But for Third Out of Three, that was the one song I'm like, hey, I actually have a horn line in my head, kind of catchy.
Cool.
I was like, this is what I kind of want it to be. So
nice. I like that. Awesome. Cool. Now, typically when we do an interview, we'll play 2 songs by whoever the band is that's on the show. Is there a second song that stands out to you that you think would be a good one for us to play as well?
People seem to really like Smoke Rings.
Awesome.
Yeah,
cool.
Fine.
Well, tell us a little bit about that one then. That way people will kind of have an inkling about it when we play it.
Yeah. That was probably the easiest song out of the whole process to do. I think we did that one, I think Caleb taught it to me, and I had it, I'm not going to say down, but I had, the structure of it learned probably in an hour.
Nice.
And we recorded it that day. That was one of the first of the 4 that we started on this album. So that's one of the older ones, if you will. It's a favorite of mine though, because it's just one of those songs that's different for us, and, we can play it at whatever kind of show.
Nice. Very cool. I like that.
I guess context-wise, kind of lyrical content, it's mostly about just a friend that most of us had, and he kind of just lost his way. Yeah, definitely just kind of just isn't the same person now than, we knew them a couple of years ago.
Okay.
So, it's not meant to be like a cynical song and bash somebody who, talked about somebody else. It's just kind of an experience we all had.
Yeah.
And,
almost like a "we're still thinking about you" type thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
Cool. I like that. Awesome. Now that you guys finally have this, full-length record out, I'm holding the CD of it right now. You got some songs spinning on the radio, all that good stuff. What do you think is the next step for you guys?
We're just trying to play with, as many bands as we can, as big of bands as we can. Well, it's kind of something we've been discussing a lot, is what's our next big step. It's not that we don't enjoy where we're at. I personally never thought we would be having songs played on the radio, doing interviews or anything like that. But, who can we play with next that's going to help us get to that next level, and what is that next step? And, that's just kind of what we're in the process of thinking about.
Cool.
I don't know if we have an answer for that.
No, that's fine.
There's one show that we're definitely looking forward to that Brandon was able to pull some strings and get us on again is Audio Feed Festival.
Sure.
Yeah.
There's a lot of really great bands. Flatfoot 56, they close out that festival every year.
Nice.
They always have a really fun theme. You dress up as something, and I think one year it was hillbilly mud pit. And it was just like a hillbilly theme, and it just so happened that it rained a lot that year.
Nice.
So the whole circle pit was a mud pit, and so it was very, very fitting. But yeah, I would definitely say just try to break through and open for some bigger bands.
Some ska band. We don't play with a lot of ska bands because, not many bands choose ska. But so, whenever we can get on a ska show that's all ska bands or play with another ska band, we'll do it.
Nice.
We have no problem being the only ska band either. So
yeah, if the stars align and somehow we're able to open for 5 Iron Frenzy, that would pretty much just like that'd be it there. I could quite happy, but just because they're such a big influence. But yeah, it's and then eventually, like I got a couple song ideas for the next one. Cool. Nothing really hashed out yet, but whatever the next album is, we definitely want to just make it bigger and better and faster.
Yeah, we already decided we're not stopping this train, so we're gonna keep recording because we feel like we're on a good path right now. So we might as well keep the juice going while we got it.
Sounds good.
So we're already working on the next one.
Cool. I like that. Awesome. I think that almost does it, but I don't know if you guys have ever caught an interview on the show before, but there is one question that we always like to kind of ask at the very end, which I think kind of lends itself towards people getting a better idea of kind of who you guys are, maybe separate than the band in a sort of way. But for each one of you, I mean, you guys play in a band, you guys are doing your thing, you put out an album, you guys are signed to a label and got a song on the radio, but Caleb, Austin, what is the most un-rock and roll thing about you?
Oh man,
I'm gonna go ahead and say the most un-rock and roll thing about me is that I really like nerd card games. So like if you've heard of Magic the Gathering, there's actually it's a game called the Final Fantasy trading card game.
Sure.
So it's like I go to that couple days out of the week after work and just play card games with some friends. It's like really, really nerdy and not too rock and roll, but something I like to do.
I don't really know un-rock and roll. I like to think I'm pretty rock and roll myself, but I would say, I guess going along with the nerdy thing, I'm a pretty big video game guy. I like to play. I'm a really big hockey guy. My other passion other than music is ice hockey. So I play a lot of NHL on the Xbox. I'm actually in a league of guys that play all around, like U.S. and Canada and other countries and all that. And
wow.
They get teams together and there's the standings and stats and all that. So that's probably the least rock and roll about me is I'm got my face on the TV screen when I'm not playing rock and roll.
Cool. Well, I can dig that. That's cool. See, I like that because, I mean, I never would have known either one of those things about you without that question. So I always find that fun, and I try to make it kind of a standard. There's a few instances where that question doesn't get asked, but I always like to ask just because I think it's fun.
That's definitely a question that we've never been asked before.
And I like that.
I love that, too, because everyone's always so focused, like, it's the music, it's the concerts, it's the albums. And then I'm like, yeah, what are you embarrassed about? What's your guilty pleasure? So yeah, that works out, man. I like that from both of you guys. That's cool. Awesome. Well, guys, thank you so much. It's been fun hanging out with you. I can't wait to get to spend some more time with the latest record, Last Place. Of course, Must Build Jacuzzi is your band, and hopefully we'll get to hear many more songs from you guys on the Christian Rock 20 in the near future, and hopefully we'll get a chance to get you guys out on tour. It sounds like a fun time.
All right. Thank you, man. Yeah.